Spouse visa 309/100 is the topic of my discussion today. I'm Babar Ayub, an Australian citizen and a licensed immigration consultant of Australia from Migration Call. So if you are married and you have a partner, spouse overseas, what visa can you apply for? The answer is spouse visa 309/100. This is two-part visa. 309 is a temporary visa that allows your partner to come to Australia and you both can live together while he or she on this visa. And after living in Australia 2 years, you can apply for the permanent visa, which is 100 visa. So they both visas are applied together. I have many clients who have successfully completed their spouse visa application through me and were granted spouse visa. So I know inside out how to deal with this visa. This visa is also this video is also very important for those who are sponsoring their partner either first time or second time or even third time, and also for those who have been sponsored on this visa earlier and now looking to apply for the applying for the spouse visa. Like always, I look into the immigration website, Australian immigration website, immi.gov.au, where I can show you what is the main criteria, what are the other things that you have to fulfill in order to apply for the spouse visa. And one of the very important thing that you should keep in your mind, sometimes it's a bit confusing to look over some of the specific things which I would cover in this video in detail when I go onto the immigration website. So you can keep watching this video till the end so you know what is the main criteria, what are the main things that you should be familiar with when you are applying for this visa. So like always, let's dive into the immigration website where all the information for the spouse visa 309/100 is there. So when we go there, there are two parts. One is the criteria fulfilled by the sponsor, and the second is the criteria fulfilled by the applicant. So without spending too much time here talking, I think we should go there and start showing you what is that.
On to the Australian Government Immigration Department's website, immi.gov.au, and you can see on the screen partner visas apply overseas. Okay, so that means like this is a partner visa, and when the partner is overseas, only then you can apply for this visa. Apply overseas does not mean that you go to overseas and apply for this visa. All applications are online for subclass 309 and 100. This is the visa I'm talking about. So the partner has to be overseas when you're applying for this visa. Okay, what is this visa? It says further, allows the partner or spouse of an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or eligible New Zealand citizen to live in Australia. So like I said, you need this visa to apply, and then when it's granted, you can come to Australia and live on this visa. Again, like I said, you apply for the temporary and the permanent partner visa together. So this is 309 visa, and then there is 100 visa. So both visas are applied together. So like if you go down, you can see partner provisional visa 309 and partner migrant visa subclass 100. So these two visas have to be applied together. That's why they're called 309/100. Like I said early on in my video, that first you live on to partner provision visa 309 with your partner for 2 years in Australia, and then automatically, if you have the relationship going okay, then you will be qualified to apply for the permanent visa subclass 100. Okay, now let's look into that. What is it? It explains you. This visa lets the de facto partner or spouse of an Australian citizen. De facto partner is someone who is in a relationship and living together with his or her partner for more than 12 months. So this is the de facto spouse. Is obviously you're married, you have had your documents registered, or even like made, so officially you are called as a spouse. So this is lets the de facto partner or spouse of an Australian citizen. So the partner of an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or eligible citizen who's living in Australia temporarily, to live in Australia temporarily, getting this visa is the first step towards permanent. So it explains you like what I explained you earlier. What is this visa? Like I said, it is a temporary visa. It leads directly to the permanent partner visa, which is 100. And again, the point that you must be outside Australia when you're applying for this visa. So this is for the applicant, right? The applicant has to be outside of Australia. Okay, so it says like cost and other things like, but we don't look into that. Now I just, because they both are applied together, I also look into partner migrant visa, which you will be granted after 2 years living together in Australia. This visa lets the de facto partner, or de facto partner's definition already gave you earlier, or a spouse of an Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, eligible citizen. So someone who is married to Australian citizen, Australian permanent resident, or eligible New Zealand citizen, live in Australia permanently. Okay. So who it is granted to, this 100? It is granted to someone who was previously granted 309. It says usually there are some circumstances which you are granted partner subclass 100 visa directly, but that's another topic. It's a very lengthy topic, so I don't want to go into that detail. So we stick to our main conversation here. So when it says may or usually, that means there are certain rules that you can also if fulfill those rules, you can be given that visa. So it's further explains what is this visa. This is a permanent visa. You must hold a temporary partner visa 309. You stay Australia permanently. Okay. Now we go into this visa because this is the first visa that they apply you. That they will grant you when you're applying it together. Let's go into details. So when I'm going into details, it says when you are staying temporary, so you will be staying in Australia temporarily until your permanent partner visa subclass 100 application is finalized or withdrawn in any case. So this is a temporary visa, and you can stay on this visa until your 100 application is finalized. These are the fees. If you come to the middle section, with this visa you can live, work and study in Australia while we process your permanent partner visa. Travel to and from Australia as many times as you want. Okay, now it says you must. That's the third. Partner is explaining you again. Be in a genuine relationship with your spouse or de facto partner who's an Australian citizen and permanent resident. Have your spouse or de facto partner sponsor you. Okay, I will cover this topic later. This sponsorship is very important. And again, explaining, be outside Australia when you apply for this visa, like explained earlier. So you got to be outside of Australia when you're applying for this visa. If you are not outside of Australia, if you are in Australia and you are applying for this visa, this is a wrong visa. So if you are basically outside Australia, you got to apply for this visa. Okay. Now we go into the eligibility. It's called check your eligibility. This is very important. I just press it. To be eligible for this visa, you must, I just covered the main points here. Be outside Australia. Like I said, have a sponsor. So you also need a sponsor. I'll explain you later. Okay, meet relationship requirements. There are certain relationship requirements that have to be met as well. There are certain health requirements, character requirements, like police certificate and all those. Okay, and there are certain rules. I will not go into that detail because again that will make our discussion very long and may not be applicable to everyone. So I just want to cover this topic to the people who's generally applying for this visa and do not fall into some other criteria. So again, it says be outside Australia when you apply. Okay, so it's repeating it again and again. You must be outside Australia when you apply for this visa. Have a sponsor. So you need a sponsor too. You and anyone who applies for this visa with you must have a sponsor when you lodge your application. And when you are on the, so you also need a sponsor. When you apply 309/100, you also need a sponsor too. So who is your sponsor? Your sponsor is usually your partner. So in many cases is your partner. Usually, again, there is some exceptions. I will not go into that details. Let's keep it to your partner, an Australian citizen or permanent resident or eligible New Zealand is your partner or she's your partner. He's sponsoring you to bring to Australia and also your spouse. And the second thing is you must approve your sponsor. So the sponsorship has to be approved as well. You cannot change your sponsor. The person who sponsor you when you apply for this visa must be the same person who sponsor you for 2 years. There are other things. The sponsor should apply to sponsor as soon as possible after you apply. So this is a very important point. So if you are an Australian citizen, you are Australian permanent resident or eligible New Zealand citizen who's married to your spouse overseas and you want to bring him or her to Australia. Obviously, you're applying for this visa, but once you apply for this visa, you should immediately after that apply for the sponsorship as well. And in most cases, you are the one who is sponsoring your partner. Okay. So sponsoring partners means like you are, because your sponsor is on a temporary visa while he or she is coming to Australia. So there's good 2 years before he can or she can apply for the permanent visa, where whole government facilities or other facilities will be provided to the person. So you are taking the responsibility of your partner, that you're going to take care of your partner when he or she is coming to Australia for the first 2 years. Okay. All right. Now there is a meet relationship requirement. If you go into that age, before that be the right age, obviously 18 plus. The partner has to be 18 plus, and sponsor and both of them. Okay. Meet relationship requirements. If I look into that, same like explain you be the spouse or de facto partner. De facto partner explanation was given to you earlier, and be the spouse of same. So it's just keep repeating all those things. A spouse, and then it's again explaining you what is a spouse, okay, and what is de facto partner as well. Okay, if you want to look into that on your own time when you are online, yes, you can. But I've already explained you. That's the main thing. Obviously, you meet a health requirement, meet our character requirement. That's also important. Okay, so there are some other things as well. So this covers for someone who's the applicant. Okay, so if you are the applicant and you are living overseas and you are married to Australian permanent resident, Australian citizen, or eligible New Zealand, you are applying for this visa. But what about the sponsor or your partner? Okay, so if you like to look into that one, you see this button, it says for applicants. So all the details that I have explained you applies to the applicant. So if I scroll it up to the sponsor, for sponsor, the new sets of information comes in, which shows what sponsor has to be. So if somebody is sponsoring, like I said, as soon as you apply for the 309 and 100 visa, you have to apply for the sponsorship. Okay, and that sponsorship has to be approved by the immigration. If it's not approved, then your 309/100 visa would take a long time. It could also be it could not be guaranteed. Anyways, now we look at who's the suitable sponsor. So the sponsor should be Australian citizen, Australian permanent, eligible New Zealand, like I explained you earlier. And there are other sets of rules for some exceptional rules. The sponsor should be someone you should not have a significant criminal record. So if you are a spouse, Australian citizen, and Australian permanent or eligible New Zealand citizen, you're sponsoring your partner from overseas, you should not have a significant criminal record. Okay, and you refuse to provide us with if you are not providing the police certificate, right? Or the third thing is you have to disclose any criminal record or relevant offenses that you have to the applicant as well. So applicant who's coming from overseas should know about your character as well. So these also the three main things. Okay, got to be the right age. Now this is very important, like I explained you when I was starting my video, that if you are first time, second time or third time sponsoring someone from overseas, got to watch this video. This is it, limitation on sponsorship. You have to read this. This is very important. So there are certain limitations or rules apply if you are sponsoring someone. What it says: we may refuse your sponsorship application and the visa application if the below sponsorship limitations apply to you. So it says may refuse. Okay. All right. When it says we refuse you, that means obviously the one may refuse. There are obviously some discretions or some some exceptional rules that applies. So if you were previously sponsored, if you are someone who were sponsored by someone before or held a prospect marriage or partner visa, right? You may refuse your sponsorship and your partner visa application. So the chances are they may refuse your sponsor application if not always, but if this is your third time in sponsoring someone for a partner visa. So if you were married before and you have sponsored your partner before twice, and now this is your third time getting married and sponsoring your sponsor, the chances are they may refuse it. But again, the question, it says may refuse it. So there are some exceptional rules that apply even if you are applying for the third time. You have sponsored another partner within. So another limitation is if let's suppose if you are someone who got married to your spouse overseas and you applied for the application, and after applying for the application, the marriage would last 2 or 3 years. So within 3 years, probably it's just finished, right? Even if the partner is in Australia now, so you cannot apply for another visa. So you have to have 5 years time period before you apply again for the sponsorship. So if the 5 years rule, the 5-year rule is very important. Okay. So you have to look into that. So if your 5-year rules apply for anyone who's been sponsored earlier or who's sponsoring again. So it says both. You have sponsored another partner or you were sponsored, in both cases. But again, there is some exception. You might still be able to sponsor someone for this visa. Even though the 5 years time period has not been passed, okay, maybe 3 years or sometimes, but still you were given some exception. What is this exception? Your previous partner died. Let's suppose unfortunately your partner died or left the relationship and you have young children. Someone who just went on and finished the relationship, but you still have young children. So in that cases you can, within 5 years, you have been with your partner for more than that. In other cases, if you were living together in Australia for more than 2 years, even then you can apply if the 5 years has not been fulfilled. And the third is you or your partner have dependent children. So you both have children. So in the interest of children, the next visa would be granted, because if you are even your relationship is finished within 5 years, and now after applying for after applying for your first application, and you have children together. So in the best interest of children, obviously, because if you are disturbed, you can it might affect very badly to children as well. So if you have within 5 years you're applying again, you can. All right. So this is very important subject. Okay. So again, it says I've had some queries that somebody wants to sponsor someone third time. He or she may, but there are certain rules as to be applied, and there are whole set of new topic, and which I'm not covering today. I'm just covering the normal sponsorship and certain criteria that have to be fulfilled. So I think that's it. This is there are so many other things. If you like to go into this visa, about this visa, it tell you your obligation, cost, how long sponsorship lasts. Usually it lasts for 2 years, and how to apply for the sponsorship. Again, when there are step by step before you apply, gather and prepare your documents. That's very. I have not covered this topic because again, gathering documents is a long list, and there are so many documentation in order to justify so many things. So if I like to cover this topic, I probably need another 30 to 40 minutes to cover this topic of all the documentation you need, and it also varies from country to country and relationship wise as well. So I'm not covering. You can look at it into that. And then when you are a sponsor, it's again, if you are somebody who's a sponsor, your application is a sponsor. Obviously, the obligation is obviously you are willing to sponsor your partner for 2 years in Australia, while you are living together. So these are some obligations. You can also withdraw your application. There are certain rules as well. So you can look into that if that applies. I'm going back to the applicant. For applicants, again, if you look into this, coming back to overview about this visa. With this visa, you can, what you can't, and there's cost, there's so many things that you need to be looking into it. It's very important. All the information is there. I've already checked eligibility. There are certain rules that if you have one of those, if you are into one of those situations, you can look into those rules or can consult a migration agent. And obviously, step by step for the applicant, before you apply, gather the document, apply for the visa. So apply for the visa, you apply online, like I said earlier, and be outside of Australia. This is important. It's not paper-based application. After you apply, some of the things that after you apply, they have explained you still be sponsored, corrected documents, travel. There's so many little things. That's why earlier I explained you. There are so many little things that you got to look into it when you're applying for this visa. It may sound easier, but trust me, if you have a little some gray area, this visa can be very complicated. So you need to make sure all the documents and everything is there. Again, when you have the visa, what you can do on this visa, how long you can stay. Pretty much I've covered that, how long you can stay, what you must do on this visa, travel on your visa. You can obviously travel back and forth from Australia. So that's it. I've covered this topic on the website, none other than Australian immigration website, and this is the most reliable information that you can get. So the purpose is that I can get all the relevant information from the right source. So I'll just now finish up my topic on from the computer now before I just say last few words, and that's it. Thank you.
So that was some information about the spouse visa 309/100. There are certain rules or exceptions applied to some applicants or sponsors. If you are one of those and you are into that situation, you can always ask me by writing a comment or sending me a message. So I will definitely reply you back. I'm Babar Ayub, like I said earlier, an Australian citizen and a licensed immigration consultant of Australia from Migration Call. Please like and subscribe this video. If you have any question or any more information you need when it comes to Australian immigration visa, you can always write me, and I will write you back or explain you anything that you need. Or if you would need me to make more videos on any topic that you think is confusing for you and you want it to be more clear about it, also leave a message, a comment. I definitely make a video on it, so it could benefit to some of other applicants who are looking to apply for that who are in that particular situation. All right, thank you.